ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're going to check out Brandon's 600-gallon reef tank. How's it going today, Brandon?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
Excellent, thank you. So you have this pretty awesome in-wall 600-gallon reef tank. How big is this tank?
It's 600 gallons. It's 96 by 48 by 34. George from Coral Connection built this tank for me.
Oh, very cool. Now have you...
His big tank is also a plywood tank. Yeah.
Nice. Have you noticed any difference with like plywood versus glass, or it's all the same in the end, holds water?
I haven't noticed any difference. I mean, I hope I never have to notice a difference.
Yeah. So how long have you had this tank up and going?
This tank's been up for 5 years.
Nice. It's awesome to have all that depth inside.
It's fun to rockscape that much depth.
Yeah.
That.
You get to crawl inside, sit in there, play with the rocks.
It's like playing Jenga a lot of times. Man.
Yeah.
You got to sit there and mess with it a bunch.
So how deep is your tank?
34 inches.
34
deep.
inches? So do you actually have to get in there when you're working and changing stuff? Or?
I get wet most of the time when I work in it. Yeah, you go shirtless and just get wet. It's not much else you can do with it at that point.
Can you reach most things, or are you literally climbing in there?
Except for the very front, which can be challenging if you're getting something out of there or putting something in it. For the most part, you can reach everything, with the deck in the back, of course.
Nice. So you have one thing that most people don't, which is awesome, and you have a huge fish room behind this tank.
I do.
Yeah.
It was built with the house and makes it extremely easy to do whatever you need to in the tank. I don't have to take anything out of the tank room or salt water in the living room. Or.
So you plan to have the fish room from day one?
From day one.
Nice.
From when we were designing the plans of this house, we designed to have this fish tank in the wall and in the plans.
Did you have a tank at a previous place before this? You're already kind of addicted?
I had many tanks, yeah. I had a 225 in the wall at my other house, which
nice.
it was a good start, and that was the one that made me want a bigger tank in the wall for sure.
You've also got some pretty big fish in here. So are these ones you've had from previous tanks that's kind of kept moving up with you? Or?
The original fish, one of the fish that comes with me is the sailfin. That sailfin is probably about 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Man, I've had him the longest. The other 5-year-old fish that I've had in here, the foxface, the yellow tangs. The sohal, from what I understand, I got him 3 or so years back, and he was 8 when I got him. The guy got him as a baby.
Yeah,
he said
he's huge.
It was like 3 inches, yeah. And he had him in a 100-gallon tank.
Yeah. So this is like a Palace Farm comparison?
He loved it. As soon as he got in here, he made a quick home of it and a boss of it too. I think the only one that bossed him around is the powder blue.
Yeah.
He'll kind of get
really,
on him.
He still does. He's so tight. Look at the size difference. That's crazy if he does.
The powder blue will do it to anybody.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what all do you have for kind of customizations or stuff to keep this tank going?
Nothing. This tank runs really simple, man. I mean, I have a calcium reactor. I don't run any kind of Apex or any system like that. Simple power heads, skimmer, a lot of rock work.
Yeah.
And that's about it, man. I don't really run a bunch of filtration.
Yes. Want to take a quick look at the fish room?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, first starters walking in, you got this awesome walkway all around the tank, which probably makes maintenance much easier, eh?
So much easier. I mean, the size of the tank alone, you would need a ladder at all times to get in it and do whatever you need to do. And the deck came out of that need right there, because I was in here with a ladder one day and it was almost unworkable, and you needed to be able to get in the tank more, unless you were getting in the tank all the time. And the ladder, the deck itself, helped it out a lot, man. That was something that it's the best thing I ever built in this room, probably.
That's awesome. Now, one cool thing is you have these little boards on there. Rather than using a mesh top, you basically have little walls just to prevent anything from jumping out, which is a cool idea.
I had a unicorn fish jump out of this tank and make it all the way over where you were standing.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really, plywood kind of gave me limited options as far as putting netting on the top, or so I was able to screw these tracks right to the top of the tank and build the bounce off boards.
Okay, so lighting wise, you're running the Illumagics. So
those are the 6 foot X180s from Illumagic, which are really nice lights, man. They've been doing a great job. I like them.
Excellent.
fully controllable.
Yeah.
A little bit different too. You don't see them too often on any kind of
Yeah.
tank around here, at least.
Yeah, one of my buddies actually going recently, and it's the first time I've seen them in person, and they look really nice, so it's awesome.
Are they doing well on his tank so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
And this is another cool thing. You have a little rail to kind of hook your lights and swing them out of the way. That's a nice, simple, easy solution.
Yeah, it just kind of pushes it back out of the way so you can see it gives you a couple more feet to get into the tank and get wet when you're working here.
Yeah.
Man, that's no
that's awesome. Nice, simple solution. Works well.
simple solution.
Yeah. Keeping it easy. So you can reach most things from here, from the walk board.
Yeah.
You know, except for the front of the tank, I
The
guess.
very front of the tank, I got a couple little grabbers and
Yeah.
some pushers, and sometimes you just have to get in there and get your face wet and get some.
You got your own little air conditioner for the room.
Do have a tank AC. I had problems with humidity in the house when I didn't, so we put that in here, and it's worked pretty good.
So that sucks out all the moisture and prevents
I have
any issues?
a ventilator fan that runs in here on a timer.
Yep.
That every couple hours it runs for 15 or 20 minutes to pull moisture out of the room.
Yeah, made a big difference.
I don't have the humidity problem in the main house anymore, which is what I was trying to do.
That's promising.
This whole room is actually made with purple rock, so it's made for humidity.
Moisture.
Yeah, moisture.
Okay, nice. So now down here, we also got a frag tank, and this is plumbed into your main tanks by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's all plumbed together. I think I'm about 800 gallons total water volume between
Nice.
everything.
Good chunk. Got the nice water change bins. You got a sink, which is awesome to have in here. Got all your supplies.
Also, it's kind of like a mini pet store
Yeah.
sometimes, especially keeping it stocked with all the salt and whatnot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now this is a beast of a skimmer. So this guy's works pretty well.
Yes, that's the Super Reef Octopus from Coral View.
Nice.
That thing is, I cleaned it this morning. I almost left all the stuff in there. There was about 2 inches of black sludge into the skimmer.
Nice.
It gets pretty foul smelling in there, man.
Yeah.
That thing pulls out a lot of.
Oh
and
yes.
I got some big fish too. So
Yes, you do. Now for the sump that's actually below it. All right, so down below in the sump, we got a nice big ball of Chaeto spinning around.
Yeah, man. Ever since I had this Chaeto churning like that, I haven't had any problems growing it. I run a cycle of that red light and a white light at different times during the day. There's only about 2 hours in the day that light is not on the refugium, and keeping the flow in there and keep it turning keeps it kind of clean, and it grows so much better. It really
So you think tumbling does make a decent difference?
I was having it to where it would like start dying on the bottom, and you would start growing algae or red slime on the top. When I started churning that, it instantly, within a couple weeks, started doubling in size. I got rid of all the nuisance algae that was in there, and I'm a believer in the churning.
Good to know. Nice, awesome. Now we also got a nice beefy calcium reactor down here.
Definitely Reef Octopus. That thing is a beast also, man.
That is huge.
I don't ever really dose much into the tanks. I can if something. Most of the time, if I dose anything, it's into the salt mix when I change the water.
Yep.
But as far as the tank goes, the calcium reactor holds that completely stable at all times.
Nice. Got that. Got the little Kimura FX STP for your flow through it.
The Kimura is awesome, man. That thing is a beast on its own.
Makes it so easy to adjust today. You're just like, oh, an extra couple mils.
10 mils, 10 mils.
Yeah.
And I mean, it does in 1 mil increments pretty easily, so it makes it to where.
Yeah.
I used to sit there and fight with it before. I had a check valve and a small 1/4 inch water line valve, and I would adjust both of them over and over and over again, pretty much daily, because you would never get a steady drip, and you come in here, it would be off. Adjust it again. That thing, I haven't touched it since. I mean,
Makes it so much easier.
Yeah, never.
Yep.
It's a great product.
So no fancy controllers. He's got lovely power bars and timers, keeping it nice and simple.
No fancy controllers, man. It runs the refugium, the skimmer, the calcium reactor.
Yep.
I am running a little raw phos in the tank right now because of my phosphate issues we were talking about. And carbon. I've always constantly run a carbon in the tank.
Yep. Then CO2 tank, just got your backup extra.
I always have a backup because sometimes it's harder to get around here when you're working during the day. I can never go get a tank, so I just keep a backup and it's a small backup. I mean, I can just change it out real quick and use it, so it never really gets shut down.
How long would a tank last you on a tank this size?
How much what?
How long, like how often would you refill that big CO2 tank?
Oh man, that thing will last over a year. The big
Yeah,
CO2
that's good.
tank. Yeah, I mean, that's probably going on a year and a half now, maybe.
Nice.
I'm thinking.
That's good.
And I think I still got a little left now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Don't you love how low maintenance the calcium reactor is?
It's so much better. I don't know about all the doses and stuff, man. It's just too much.
Too much
Too much
fiddling.
can go wrong for
Too
me.
much
in that.
refilling.
Too much refilling.
Yeah.
Too much can go wrong. Too much. There's too much question in it to me.
That's
you know,
fair.
man. The calcium reactor is the stability that I think a reef should have over time.
No, I'm with you. Awesome. And is this just for frags, kind of overflow?
Yeah. This is actually about to come down.
Yeah.
I have a low boy coming in that I'm gonna put on this wall above this
nice.
plumbing. I don't need a 6-foot tank anymore. I don't.
That's fair.
A 50-gallon low boy does enough of it.
And you got a lot
Actually,
of real estate with that.
when I did rebuild the reef, I had rock in here on both sides.
Oh yeah?
It all got put in the front. I lost 4 inches when I took all the sand out. So
Yeah.
I mean, I had to find the rock somewhere, and
Yep.
that was it. And in the sump. That's why the sump's spare.
Okay, yeah.
I had rock in there and rock in here, and it all ended up in the front tank.
Oh really?
Which I estimate somewhere around 700 pounds of rock in the front tank.
That's
probably.
a good chunk.
Yeah.
So you didn't have as much rock in there before?
I didn't. I had rock in here, I had rock in the sump,
Yep.
and the sand had jacked up the rockscape,
Yep.
you know, another 4 inches pretty much all the way around, got it closer to light. When I put it all back in there, I was like, what am I going to do?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, so I know we talked about it earlier, but so you pulled out all the sand was mainly just because you had high phosphate issues?
I had unbelievable phosphate issues. It was undetectable on the ultra low range Hanna checkers, the phosphate and the phosphorus checkers. The sand went south on me. And anything that I could figure now, I was phosphate E or Roaphos, anything that I pulled phosphate out with, within days it would go right back up.
Yeah.
And I've actually stabilized the tank now, that I think it's going to be, I hope it's going to be a new start and a new beginning where I can grow my corals again.
Yeah, perfect. So since you pulled it out, your phosphates have been at a semi-decent level?
My phosphates are detectable now. I'm at 0.2, and as this is within the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, going from unreadable to 0.2 has been, I don't want to do it too fast. I'm trying to do it slowly and at a point to where I can stabilize it and keep it to where it's going to be where it's going to be, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And then, so any other tips for anyone wanting to go big and doing that custom tank? Like, is there anything you would change now, or is it exactly how you'd like it? Like, what are considerations for doing like a huge tank in your house?
Well, I put a bunch of plumbing in this house. I have extra plumbing running outside in case I needed a chiller, or extra water lines for drainage and stuff for salt water, drains in the floor, things that I'll.
Yeah, that is nice to have.
And this room is actually dropped 4 inches all the way around.
From the rest of the house?
From the rest of the house. I think I did a quick mathematics on that. It's like 475 gallons.
Ah, so if there was ever a leak, it's contained.
Short of a catastrophic failure to the front glass of the tank.
That is wise.
You know, I mean, let's face it, that could happen.
Yeah.
I have a son. You never know. But I mean, if something happened to the plumbing, or chances of it getting into the house are going to be slim.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's wise, actually. Something I wouldn't have considered, but nice. And then other thing you said too, your RODI water goes. Do you have a little pond it goes to?
I have a pond on the side of the house, which you can check out. A little bit of it's fully stocked with freshwater fish, and the drainage. Instead of just dumping that into the sewage or wasting it, it goes into the pond outside and help keep the pond.
Perfect.
Which I make a bunch of water. And it might seem minute, but at least I'm not wasting it. It's going somewhere, you know. That water's perfect for the pond fish.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Brandon, for the tank tour.
I appreciate it, Evan. Thank you. I wish we had a better viewing tank going on right now.
It's all good. It's all part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. And just building it and having it, and a hobby in your house like this is awesome to have, man. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right here.
So true. Gotta love it. Awesome. Thanks again so much.
Thanks, Evan. The rail line comes out and actually comes into one of these drains. The whole house pretty much drains into the pond from the roof line off the gutter system.
Perfect. That's great use for it, right?
Flows in the front all the way. Overflow into the front ditch to keep the pond at the same level.
Oh, perfect. So you top it off, and if there's too much, it just goes into the ditch, and you're golden.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the rain tops it off, but it just keeps it at a good level. Every once in a while, it'll get low. But I mean, for the most part,
So you actually you put a bunch of fish in here, you stock it, and
when we originally bought this property,
Yep.
see the little thin channel?
Yeah.
The original pond was just that.
Okay. So you added all this to it.
When I got it, I decided to get an additional permit to dig this out, and this is actually almost 16 foot deep in the middle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we dug
That's
it
huge.
out enough. I got every bit of red mud needed to backfill for the house.
That's
Out
awesome.
of the pond.
Huh, perfect. That's wicked.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Worked out good.
Yeah.